Well, I'm back at you again, YouTube. This is Michael making another little quick video here. I don't know if it'll be quick or not, but I've been meaning to tell anyone that watches my videos, man, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. Sometimes my videos don't really do too well, and sometimes they do, but I don't know. I appreciate anybody that does watch my videos. I really do. I want to thank you guys very much. If you can, please click like and subscribe. You know the whole YouTube thing. Today's video is going to be about you guys. Well, you guys saw the thumbnail. A lot of people want to know how did I end up having a Cambodian wife, and we've been married now for 12 years. We've got a 9-year-old daughter, beautiful little girl. On my 50th birthday, I got up that morning. I was 50 years old. It was around the 2008, 2009, you know, the whole crash thing. And I got up that morning, like I said, on my 50th birthday, and I went and had a nice long talk with myself in the mirror, man, because I didn't want to, at 50, I saw a lot of people that were older than me that had already retired or wanted to retire, wanted to stop working, and they couldn't really do it. You know, you guys see all the boomer thing now, but they couldn't do it. They had mortgages and they had all these things going on, and I had a nice long talk with myself, maybe 5-8 minutes, I don't know. And at 50, I had really already had a lot of fun. Already had a lot of fun in my life. I had a nice house in California, nice little 3-bedroom house. I had a really nice Harley Davidson. You guys probably seen it in the picture if you looked at my profile thing. I had a 1969 GMC truck, fully restored, beautiful truck, like new inside out, just beautiful truck. And I had a Pontiac Grand Am that I kind of used for cruising around, owned my cars, but I was single. I was living in California, one of the most expensive places you can live. You know, had to pay the house, the electric, had to do a lot of things myself. I had girlfriends from time to time, but at 50, I decided to kind of go in a different direction. And I was already doing a lot of side work on houses because I had at one time I had a contractor's license, so it was easy for me to get a handyman's license in California. You know, so I had a company, and at that time I was working for a machine shop full time in the day, and I told myself, I said, brother, you got to retire. I wanted to retire at 62. I didn't want to wait until I was an old man, couldn't do anything, couldn't have any play, you know, have no fun, walking around with a walker and stuff, and I didn't want to do that. So I decided at 50 I was going to bust it. I was going to get out there and be as busy as I could and make as much money as I could. My little side business that I had going on was kind of a property management. I had a lot of friends that had rental houses. I had a couple little small apartments, a couple little offices that I took care of, and I did a lot of the maintenance for them. You know, did paint. People would move out, I'd paint, do everything. And for the next 4 or 5 years, I worked every chance I got. I worked like I said, I worked at a production machine shop, running all kind of machinery, CNC machines and lathes and stuff. And I got off of work at night, and I'd go. I always had a lot of business on the side. It wasn't even really on the side. I had a real business, had an LLC, and I wanted to keep everything legit. And I didn't really. I mean, I had some girlfriends time to time, but my nights and my weekends and whatever was pretty much full because I had a lot of business and I took care of everything myself. I didn't want anybody working for me messing something up, messing up my little thing I had going on, and I was making some really good money. But in California, it's really expensive to live, and I already had all my toys. Like I said, I had a nice 3-bedroom house, and I didn't want no roommates. I didn't want some people living in my house I didn't really know, and I had really nice things in my house, and I just didn't want to deal with it. There's just a lot of tweakers living in the Central Valley where I was living at in the Modesto area, and I just didn't want that kind of trouble. So, anyways, I went for about 4 or 5 years. Like I said, had a couple girlfriends here and there, and had a Cambodian friend of mine in California, really good friend of mine, and him and his wife were getting ready to go come over here to Cambodia on vacation. And I told him, I said, "Hey, brother," I said, "you know I'm busy all the time. I don't really have time to get out and look for a girlfriend. And I didn't want one of these, I don't know, I didn't want one of these problem girls. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about." So I said, "Hey, if you know any nice girls, man, over there in Cambodia, man, hook me up. You know, I got a phone number. You know, like I said, I work all the time. I can talk to them on the phone. I can do the Skype thing with them, but I don't really have time to take them. You know, take them to you know, the girls they like to go out and do things, and I just didn't really have the time. I had the money, but I just didn't really have the time to do it. So I just stayed so busy, and I was telling him that kind of a, not really as a joke, but kind of a, just, I don't know, just in a passing comment. And he was gone for a month or so to Cambodia. He came back. He said, "I got a girl for you." And I said, "Really?" And he introduced me to her online. She didn't speak any English. Hello and how are you? And just a few basic English words. So we started talking, or started communicating with each other on Skype, and got to know her pretty good, man. And really nice looking girl, a lot younger than me. I was at that time, I believe I was like 55, and she was like 27, maybe something like that. And you know, quite a bit of age difference. And so we kind of, you know, we just communicated in our own ways, man. We just, you know, just started talking, and next thing you know, I was thinking about it a lot, and I asked her, did she want to get married to me, and she said, yeah, that she had to talk to her family first, because that's kind of how they do it over here, and I had to talk to the mom and the dad through my friend, because they don't speak any English. And I told him to tell their family that I was the same age as her mom, and a couple years younger than her dad. So I was basically old enough to be her dad. But I told my friend to tell them that I realized there's a big age difference and a culture difference, but I was a hard worker, wasn't lazy. And if they let their daughter marry me, I'd do everything I could to take care of her. I'd you know, walk over glass, whatever I had to do, man, take care of her. I made a promise, and I've so far I've kept that promise, man. Like I said, we've been together now for 12 years, known each other longer than that, but we've been married now for coming up on 12 years, and we've had a couple of rough times because of the language barrier. There's a lot of big culture barriers. You know, I was single for a long time. You know, like I said, I had the Harley, had the, you know, just kind of did what I wanted to do, and so I ended up flying to Cambodia. I was still working at the machine shop, still doing my property management, and I could only stay for a couple of weeks because I just couldn't take a lot of time off. I just couldn't. I didn't want to lose my little side hustle, and I didn't want to stay too long from the machine shop. They needed me there. That I ran a couple of machines that I was pretty much the only one that really knew how to use them well. So, anyways, I came over here to Cambodia, and we had a big Cambodian wedding. It's kind of a 2-day deal, and I saw how people lived over here. And at first, I was going to try to bring her back to the United States, but it would have been hard for her to get a driver's license because she couldn't read and write English and couldn't really understand English that well. But we made it work, and she wanted a baby. I didn't have any children because the lifestyle I was living. I didn't want to bring a child into that lifestyle. I was riding with motorcycles and with people that ride Harley Davidsons. I'm not going to use any names or anything like that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So I didn't want to bring any children into that kind of lifestyle I was living. So she wanted a baby, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm already 55 years old. So finally, after a couple years, few years, she talked me into it. Like I said, we got a beautiful 9-year-old daughter. I don't want to put her on. I don't want to blast her on YouTube, man. She's too young, and I don't want any problems later on in her life. So, but and I would fly back and forth to Cambodia. I couldn't do it very often because, like I said, I had my business and I was working at the machine shop. Couldn't stay for very long, maybe a couple of weeks. But we talked every day on Skype. We talked every day on Skype, man. And I sent her money. After a couple of years, I came over here and she had a little moto, and I wanted a car, man. I told her, I said, you got to learn how to. She didn't know how to drive a car. She didn't have a license. She'd never driven a car in her life. Nobody in her family had a car. So I went and bought us a car. I still have the same car today. It's 10 years older. It's a 1999 Lexus RX 300. It's an SUV, but I keep it up, man. I keep my things nice. So anyways, and every time I've ever been sick, since I've been living over here for the last 4 years, obviously when I was living in the United States, I got sick. I got to take care of myself. But she's taking care of me through 2 surgeries and a couple, flus, sickness, whatever, stomach flus. We've had our little problems, but every couple does, right? But it's a little bit different when I don't speak Khmer, and she speaks pretty good English, but sometimes the translations are not quite correct, and maybe there's a little bit misunderstanding. But she's a really good wife, and some people say, "Oh man, she just married you for the money." Maybe, but we're both getting something. You know what I mean? I got a nice, beautiful young wife. You're gonna see on the thumbnail. I got a nice, beautiful young wife, and she takes care of me. This house is spotless all the time, man. She's a really good housewife. She said if I wanted, she'd go to work, and I said, I don't want you to work. I make enough money for both of us, honey. I make enough money, and I got enough money in the bank, and I'm a big believer in the gold, in the gold and silver. I'm going to leave it at that. But I love gold and silver. So I told her, I said, we ain't got nothing to worry about, man. We're going to be cool. And then 62, let me back up a minute here. When my daughter was born in 2016, my daughter was born 2016. I sold my little property management business, and I left the machine shop. They had a nice little retirement deal going on, and I cashed that out and put the money in the bank. And I came over here to Cambodia, and I lived over here for 7 months in my wife's mom's house. We didn't have a house yet, and I lived with them. I took care of my daughter. I wanted to see my daughter born, and wanted to take care of her and help my wife out. Obviously she'd never had a child before, so And me neither. So like I said, I wanted to be there for that, man. I, did the bottle and the diaper and everything. And then I went back to the States and went to truck driving school. So that way I could, truck drivers, you kind of move around, you can quit, you can stop driving when you want for as long as you want. So that gave me a little bit more freedom to come back and forth over here to Cambodia. And I retired when I was 62. I put in for my retirement. I was driving for FedEx, ground, over the road. And I couldn't come quite then because of the COVID thing. They had everything locked down. They wouldn't let you come over here. Cambodia was closed, and the airports, all that COVID thing. So as soon as that ended, I was already 63 years old. But I came over here then, and she took care of everything. I told her, I said, "You get us a house, man. You find us a house." She took care of it all, man. She found us a nice place to live. I told her, I said, because everything was in all the paperwork, all the housing, all the contracting agreements and everything, they was all in Khmer. I told her, I said, sometimes if people are dishonest, so I told her, I said, just go pay whatever it was. I think it was $300 or $400. She went and paid a lawyer to look at everything, make sure everything was on the up and up. She bought everything for the house without me there, and she really took care of everything, man. Took care of my daughter while I was driving truck, and then I came over here in I forget what year it was, but anyways, it was right after COVID was over. But it was 4 years ago. I've been here now almost 4 years, so I'm gonna say 2022 in December I came over here, and I've been living over here ever since. And living in a third world country, it's not your homeland. It's got its challenges. Let me tell you, it's got its challenges. I haven't really had any problems with anybody over here. Most of the Asian people are pretty small, and I'm a really big guy. And even though I'm old, I'm still in pretty good shape. So, but I haven't really had any problems over here. I just don't. Sold everything in California, man. Sold everything I owned. I don't have a pair of shoes. I don't have nothing over there in the USA anymore. But that's how I met my wife. I didn't want one of those used up. No offense to the ladies, I didn't want one of those used up women that I'd been dating over there in the USA. Sometimes they lie. They say they're not doing drugs. Next thing you know, I'm finding methamphetamine in my house, man. I just couldn't have that. And the girls my age or the ladies my age, they already had kids and grandkids, and I got to go to grandkids' birthdays and all. I was just like, man, I didn't really know what to do. I was already kind of an old man at 50, and then by the time I was 55, I was kind of, what were my options, So only kind of girl you're going to find that's just not all shot out and used and stuff, that's going to be young, probably going to be a tweaker or something, one of those kind. And I don't like all the, some guys, they like all the tattoos and the piercings and all that stuff. I didn't want none of that, and my wife doesn't have none of that. She doesn't smoke any cigarettes, and she's never done any illegal drugs. She drinks a little wine every now and then. I don't drink alcohol, but other than that, she's been a really good mom. She takes care of my house. She takes care of me. And I made a promise to her family that I was going to take care of her for the rest of my life. Probably take care of her for the rest of her life, because everything, when I die, everything goes to her, man. So anyways, that's how I met my Cambodian wife. So this is kind of a message for all you retirees, that are getting close to retirement. Cambodia, they love foreigners. Okay, they love foreigners because, number one, we can take care of them. Okay, my wife has not worked a day since we've been married. She has not worked a day at any place, any business, anything like that. I've taken care of. She's been an excellent housewife, and that's what I wanted. You know, I'm kind of old school like that. I want a housewife. You know. So, anyways, for you guys that getting close to retirement age, retire, whatever, they got so many girls over here. I don't even know what the ratio is from girls to boys, but they got so many single girls over here. Can't find husbands, and when they do, a lot of the husbands are alcoholics, and they don't know how to take care of their women over here, man. Most of them don't. Some of them do, but most of them don't. They don't. They just the men are kind of lazy. They just kind of like lay around on their hammocks and look at their phone and send their wife off to the market to go sell vegetables and stuff, man. I'd never do that, man. I told my wife I'd walk. If I had to walk, if I can't because there's an ocean, but I'd walk to the United States and back if I had to for my family. So, anyways, that's how I met my my Cambodian wife. Didn't meet her on no dating website or none of those kind of scam things. Met her through a really good friend of mine. He's actually a doctor. He's a psychologist. Okay. Anyways, he's a doctor. He can prescribe medicines. He's a psychologist or psychiatrist. I don't remember which one he is, but really good people. Him and his wife, known him for a long time. And so anyways, there's a lot of beautiful, young, single girls, ladies, whatever you want to call them over here. And they have no problem marrying an older foreigner. They have no problem. Most of the older foreigners I see over here, they always have young wives. So just kind of keep that in mind, man. Just might want to hide this video from your wife if you got a wife or girlfriend or something. But anyways, and like I said, people say, "Oh, she's just using you for the money, man." Well, I don't think so. She's been with me for 12 years. Well, I don't know, taking care of me and stuff. So anyways, again, thank you guys very much for watching this video. And think about moving over here, man. Like I said, if you don't know what to do with your life, man, give me a holler. Live, L-I-V-E dot rich, R-I-C-H dot Cambodia at gmail.com. Or leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll answer any questions you got. Matter of fact, when I was a teacher, I know quite a few single ladies over here, man. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I know quite a few single ladies over here that would love to be married to a foreigner. So, all right, man. Well, I'll talk to you guys later, and thank you again for looking at my video.